What's up, guys? It's another Real Estate Friday here. We had a lot of fun as a team last night. I don't know if you saw my pictures. We were out at Hero enjoying the Mavericks game, celebrating Cody and Scott's birthday. Oh man, it was a blast. We had so much fun. It's so cool when you work with a team and there's so much synergy. But even though I'm tired, and even though it's the end of the day on Friday, I got a commitment to honor. So I'm going to give you some knowledge today about real estate. And one of the things that I wanted to do today is break down why, I invest personally in rentals. So not only do I do flips, but why would I buy into a rental? What does that look like? What are costs? What are we talking about when we're looking at rentals? Well, since I don't have a cameraman, we're just going to have to work with it. But I like the whiteboard and I like working with the whiteboard. So I went ahead and did some math up here. I went ahead and did some drawings up here. And so I got my little house up here again. This is my rental home. And I want to show you what I look at when I'm looking at it from a perspective of I'm going to purchase this home. I'm looking at it for a 5-year hold. So I'm going to hold this whole house for 5 years. So why am I holding it for 5 years? Because I want to sell it and then take that cash. So part of this is just an example of one of my personal homes that I currently own right now. When I purchased it, rehab at $170,000. I rounded the numbers off. I think it was like $169,843, but I made easy math, right? I got okay grades, so I got to make it easy, right? So $170,000 purchase price rehab. The current value on that house is $240,000. So I've already got equity in my house sitting there at $70,000, which is nice, right? I've already got some equity that I'm holding. So that's where I want to be positioned. That's why it's so important when you're buying that you're understanding what you're buying, you understand where you're buying, and you understand why you're buying, and the plan and the exit. And then not only that, every time I buy a flip home, I'm actually looking at it as a rental home so that I have a plan A and a plan B. Because if I get a flip home that won't sell, guess what I can turn it into? A rental home. And I can make it a math problem just like this. So numbers don't lie. Remember that. Numbers never lie. And this current home, the current monthly rent is $2,000. So we've got $2,000. I also want to put my property tax in there. I broke it down on a monthly basis. So it's about $5,000, a little over $5,000 that I paid this last year for property taxes. So that's $431. So that's another thing that's important when you're thinking about these rental homes or flip homes, where you're buying them. Flip homes, not the same, right? I don't have to worry about the property tax as much. On a rental home, that's eating into some of my profits. So I need to be aware of how much the property taxes are in this area because that's a real cost. They're going to want it every year. I'm going to have to pay that property tax. So then I also have my mortgage. It just depends on how you're financing. How are you borrowing money? Where are you getting money from? What's the rate that you're paying? What are the terms that you're paying on? Are you doing a 15-year, a 30-year, fix and flip, hard money loan? What does that look like? Are you paying all cash? Well, on this current home, I'm actually financing it, so it looks a little different. So I've actually got a mortgage that I have to pay, $1,174. So you've got your property tax of $431, you've got your mortgage of $1,174. Then I've got to pay my insurance, so I just broke it down at $135 per month. And then I personally like using a property management company. You can manage the properties yourself. It depends on how much time you have. I actually don't want to be distracted by that. So I don't want to have to think about that. I want to go find more houses. I want to go do more deals. I don't want to be distracted by managing the property. I'll let an expert manage the property. So let's let an expert manage the property. So I got $100 a month in there for my property management company to help me manage this property. Well, when you start looking at that, you start looking at some of your costs. So I'm breaking down these costs and I'm looking at it. Well, that leaves me on a monthly basis of $160. Now that's if I get no work orders, right? So nothing goes wrong with that house. I get no phone calls. That is my gross. I'm making $160 per month, right? Okay, well, but when you think about that, so what I was taught is an asset is something that you're not having to pay on, right? So I have this house and I'm actually grossing $160 a month. So now I have a true asset that's sitting there with $70,000 in equity. So I have an asset. I'm holding an asset now, which is so important, right? That's where I start to get to that financial freedom if I hold these assets. So then when I look at it, that over the year is going to get me $1,920, which, okay, you go, I mean, but when you look at it from another perspective, most people are paying a mortgage on a home and they're paying every month, and even though but they're paying every single month. So until they have that home paid off, it's not a true asset. I'm currently holding something that's not even my primary residence, that's an actual asset that's earning me $1,920 per year. Well, I told you that I have a 5-year plan to exit on this house, right? So when you start looking at it, I did appreciation low. Right now, appreciation rates are probably crazy and out of this world, but I want to do it on a just where I've looked at a large piece of history and how does real estate in Texas and the Dallas market typically appreciate. And in the area that I'm buying in, well, typically 3%, right? So if it goes up more, cool. That's more money in my pocket. We've already talked about that, right? More money in my pocket or more money in your pocket. Just however you're taking action on it, right? Well, if it's going up 3%, that's giving me $7,200 per year that I'm gaining, right? So I'm gaining that money, right? So that's going into my assets. So that's appreciation. I like that appreciation. It keeps going up. It keeps going up. It keeps adding to the value. It keeps putting more money in your pocket or my pocket. It just depends on if you took action, right? But when you start looking at that over 5 years, because that's the exit that I'm looking at, that's $36,000. I've got this little monthly profit that I'm making, which turns this rental into an actual asset, which is $9,600 over 5 years, which gives me, with my current equity, $70,000, which adds $45,600. You're gonna have to trust my math on this, which actually gross is $115,600. Okay, so that's gross, right? I put maintenance and fees in there because over 5 years, you're gonna have things come up. You're gonna have a renter call you and you're gonna have to send a plumber out. There's gonna be things that come up that you maybe have to replace a roof. There's something that's gonna happen in there, right? And then also when I sell the house, how am I gonna sell the house? You know, I'm gonna need to pay a real estate agent to sell my house. Or I could try to sell it myself, but there's still gonna be a fee because I'm gonna have to market it. There's something that's gonna come up. There's gonna be cost in there. So I wanna prepare for that. So I put $20,000 in there for maintenance and fees, which gives me a net profit of $95,600. Guys, $95,600. Do you realize what kind of return? That's a 57% return. A 57% return. Now, you know, you could jump into cryptocurrency. You could jump on E-Trade. The market's been good. Maybe you can see returns like that. But historically, there has never been anything more solid, more stable than investing in real estate. And so where I want to put my money is in real estate. Doesn't mean I don't want to diversify and put it in other things, but I put it in real estate because I get to see returns like this. So guys, look, I want to do a quick Real Estate Friday. I wanted to show you just a little, one of my actual rental houses and why I'm doing what I do, right? And hopefully you'll take this education and this knowledge and apply it yourself so that you can get a $95,600 profit in 5 years from now. So my best to you, because like I said, you don't have to start big, you just got to start. I'll see you next Friday.